Greetings. Alright, well, I thought I would do this brief video for people trying to understand about a very difficult topic. This topic is probably the most avoided. It is for me, because it's the most difficult aspect of life, which is the end of life, which is death. So, I guess this video was inspired by a tragic story of my sister's dog getting killed yesterday by a car. I got away from her, ran into traffic. The end. It's that simple, right? But not really. So, I was trying to help her through it, and I realized there's a lot of stuff people don't know when you're first experiencing death. And, maybe this video will help some of you that have not been through it yet. I've unfortunately been through it a couple of times. My grandma died unexpectedly from a massive heart attack, but she was a pretty healthy lady, really active. You'd have never really thought that was going to happen. She wasn't that old. I think she was like 60, maybe 65 or something. Anyways, so that was my first experience, but honestly, I was kind of detached from her in a way. Not detached, but I wasn't as close with her as I was my brother, who got killed in the car wreck. These damn cars, you know what? That seems to be a recurring theme here. It's just something that's part of life, right? We only got to get around. And, tragedy's going to happen eventually. It's a numbers game. So, he got rear-ended and killed. And I got called by his girlfriend at like 6 in the morning. And I knew something was wrong when she called me because she hated my guts. We fought over him. We both loved him. And we were both really selfish about his time and his company. And that is the only thing we ever had in common. But anyway, so I took some notes here. So let me just kind of review. But yeah, it's kind of helping her through it, and I had these really philosophical ideas that kind of came to mind, and there's the 5 stages of grief. I don't really recall what they are because I'm in a haze right now, but I do believe in the 5 stages of grief. Absolutely. It does make a lot of sense. Maybe it could help you out if I could pull it up. But in the meantime, there's no easy death. That's something you got to realize. Never is going to be easy. There's nothing you can do to make it easier. Whether you expected it or didn't expect it, it doesn't matter. Because ultimately, what's done is done. And I think when you grasp that, you can move on to the next level. Oh yeah, it's called the Kubler-Ross model. Sorry, it's kind of early in the morning. I just got called. Basically, my other sister took off with the dog, and I had it cremated before my sister could wake up and realize what was going on. And I think that's kind of shitty in a way, but I do understand the fact that she loves her like I do, and she kind of wants her to move past it. And the most bizarre thing is that when someone dies, if you love them enough, you'll hold them in your arms forever. They'll be going into rigor mortis, stiffening up, whatever, and you're still, just not over it. You're just not going to let that go. You just, it's so hard to just, what are you going to do, throw it in the garbage? Even if you do it, in a traditional luxury way, I guess, which is putting them in a box and putting them 6 feet under, it doesn't really matter how you discard the body. That's so hard, right? I'm a big Xena fan, believe it or not, and I love on the show how when someone dies, they always burn them, and I always thought that was really interesting. That seems to be the most common practice. I'll probably be cremated. I don't like the idea of rotting. I don't like the idea of just stiffening up and fucking worms coming out of your nose and shit in the coffin. Because those bugs get in there, by the way. I don't know if people know that, but they do. and that's to me that's disgusting. I can't imagine that. Um, I'm not an organ donor either. I carry an Indian belief, well, Native American, sorry, that you need to die whole. It's one piece. I feel like maybe somehow it'll jinx me if they take my eyes and give them to somebody else, and that's probably really selfish, but um, that's just my belief. So I want to be one unit when I pass over. Um, Selfish or whatever, there's other people out there that disagree and they'll give their body up, and that's awesome. I think it's a really great thing to do. I'm not against obviously helping somebody out with an organ or something, but just the idea of not being whole upsets me. I don't want to think like that, but anyway, let's see here. Okay, so the first stage, of course, is denial, right? You just can't believe it. I don't like the word denial. I like the word shock. You're in shock. Oh my God, this couldn't have happened to me. This isn't happening. Everybody deals with denial in different ways. But the biggest bottom line behind it is this couldn't happen. This isn't right. The facts aren't right. That was my first thought when my brother's girlfriend called. I was like, this can't be right. No, you don't understand. He's hurt. Maybe he's injured. Maybe you got the wrong guy. I remember thinking that. Maybe she's wrong. Maybe it's the wrong guy. And getting the news footage on the internet, that was really tough. That really screwed up my denial phase, and it kind of pushed me into the next stage, which is anger. Like, I couldn't believe that this was happening. Like, you start trying to blame. I call that the blame stage. I've recomposed this in my own structure, but I call it the blame game stage, where you try to blame somebody. And that could be anybody from God to somebody related to the event that happened. You got to blame somebody, right? Whose fault is this? You want to find out whose fault this is. Who's responsible? That's the big thing. Who's responsible for this chaos, this madness? Who's behind it all? For most people, I think that's God. I don't want to get into religion though here, because that's a whole different video, and I don't have the same beliefs as most people traditionally, and I don't want to be crucified for it either. So. Anyways, so yeah, it's the blame game stage. We call it anger, and then you get into bargaining. Bargaining's hard because that's when it really settles in. You've accepted. Well, no, that's not right. You haven't accepted, but you're realizing that this has happened. There's no way to deny it. This really did happen. Usually, that's when you see the body. Sometimes, for me, it was a lot later that I saw the body. But I was in the bargaining phase before. But some people do it when they're mourning the body physically. They're holding it. There's contact, communication, whatever. And you try to, bargain like, oh, if I'd have just done this or I'd have done that. My biggest one with my brother was, I was really young, so give me a second. I was 21 when he died. I'm almost the big 30 now. You try to bargain with it, like, oh, if I just done this or I'd have just done that. Don't do that. Get right through that stage. That stage sucks. I think that's the worst because it really is self-harming. It's a bad thing to do to yourself. Gosh, if I'd have just done this or that, and you blame yourself. I think it's kind of the blame yourself phase. Is you turn it on yourself. I could have fixed this. I could have prevented this if I'd have just got there earlier, or if I'd have left later, or if I'd have said hang out with me. That was my big thing. I passed up an opportunity to hang out with him for the last time because I was hanging out with this girl. And when you're in love, that's really. That's a strong thing, too. So, I thought I was, whatever, and I did. I passed up that last opportunity, and it took me years to get over that. I don't know, I really ever did. I think it just got easier to deal with the concept. You never really moved past that stage. But yeah, don't beat yourself up. The worst thing about the end of bargaining is you realize it doesn't matter. It doesn't freaking matter. They're gone. Get over it. That's how you gotta tell yourself. It's done. It sucks. Oh, it does suck. We know it sucks. It's like the worst thing in the world. That brings me back to, there's no easy death. Whether it's, you know, expected or unexpected, whether it's quick or it's slow, and like cancer, something terrible like that, there's no easy death. So don't be looking for that because you won't find it. Whether, you expected this thing to happen and you knew about it and they were maybe going through treatment, or maybe they broke their hip, and statistics. I myself was in the medical field quite a while, and I'd seen that a lot where, you break a hip. Usually that's it. Very few people come out of that. If you do great, that's awesome, man, because that's something to really get through. A broken leg in your elderly stages of life is a big thing. There's infection and all these things, and anyway, so, like I said, there's no easy death. It doesn't matter how you deal with it. It was quick, slow, expected or unexpected. And another thing, too, is there's no convenient time to die, right? I'm not sure if I agree with that anymore. When I wrote that down, I did, but I mean in the sense that they could die, maybe if you had another year, or if they died tomorrow. Like, it's never convenient. Are you ever really ready? Do you ever finally say, all right, you can die now. I feel pretty good about this. I feel like we've made peace, and whatever. Well, maybe you can make peace if you had some water under the bridge, or some water over the bridge at that point. But essentially, it's not convenient ever. And then, it's really odd. Me and my bro, we used to love this movie called The Crow. It changed my life forever. I'll never forget. As oddly enough, my grandma turned me on to it. She was like the most religious, straight-bound person you'd ever meet. She thought it was about clowns and rented it for me one night. And I saw it when she went to sleep. Not on purpose. She just went to bed and, I'll check out that movie. And it was like the most movie she would ever want me to see. It was a lot of drug abuse and stuff, but there's this one scene, there's a lot of soul in it, and Brandon Lee died for that movie, and Johnny Depp was supposed to play that role, but he didn't, and now he has a tattoo of the crow on his hand because that could have been him. That's another story, but anyway. And there's one scene in there where a guy says, because the guy comes back from the dead in the movie, and, this one guy says, there ain't no coming back. And he's in shock. He's like, I can't believe you're back. And the way he says it is, there ain't no coming back. This is the really real world, And I think that's an important part of death to grasp, is there's no coming back. So, don't beat yourself up, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because you can't bring him back. There ain't no coming back. That's a hard part. That's when you're moving into the final stage, which is, acceptance. No, it's not. Actually, depression's supposedly after bargaining, after you try to make sense of it and, bargain, if I just done this or done that, then you can move into depression because you realize, I think depression sets in when you realize it doesn't matter. It's done. There's nothing you can do about it. That's it. You're done. Check, please. Then you move into acceptance, but I don't know if you ever really accept it. I never really did. Maybe that's a stage that I'll have when I'm dying, and I'll accept that he's dead because I'm on the way to. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, shit, I'll see you soon, buddy. Because I do believe in an afterlife. Because I want to, not because religion tells me to. I'm really against being told what to do religious-wise. I abandoned all religious beliefs when I was like 17, and I've been rebuilding my own belief structure, what I think is true, what's not true. I think a lot of people, the biggest thing behind religion is we all want to believe in something great. I mean, wouldn't it suck to just think, we just die and that's it, boom, it's over, In a sense, I could kind of want that because, I heard these views of, well, you die and you go to heaven and there's God and Jesus and their dogs and all ex-lovers and family members and stuff. But I always think about it being like, I used to play a lot of concerts when I was on tour, and it'd be like, even my brother, like, we'd smoke a cigarette, I'd hug him, it would be the greatest moment of my life, and then I'd put that cigarette out and it'd be like, now what? What do we do? Is there something to do in heaven? Do we hang out? Maybe we could have coffee. I don't really know. That's where it gets kind of iffy for me. And I don't know. But I'd love to think, yeah, maybe my dad was telling me maybe there's just infinite bliss. He's kind of like me. He's very on the rocks. You know, like I said, a lot of people I feel like believe religion just because they're told it, they're taught it. That's what they learn to believe. They never question it, and I admire that. But I can't. I'm a total Gemini. I analyze the shit out of everything. I'll probably edit this video 100 times. No, not really. But you know. Anyway, so I don't mean to get into that, but let's get into the final part here. And like I said, the finality of it is, I guess that's the acceptance stage. The finality of it is you know, there's nothing you can do about it. You know, it's over and done. There's no reason to place blame or try to bargain. The healthiest thing I can think to do is just grieve. That's it. Just grieve. You know, and you do that in your own way. Everybody does it differently. You know, some people do it by crying, which is totally fine. Some people try to use drugs. Can't say I've never heard of that method. You know, you try to find ways to grieve. Some people are total rejection of the world and they get closed off. I think I did that early, but it wasn't intentional. I was just so lost, you know. Oh, that was another thing. I thought this was a good analogy. You know, everything in the world, whether you want to believe this or not, you don't need religious to tell you this, but everything circles something, right? You know, the moon circles the earth circles the sun and all of our planets are circling, you know, the solar system, or not the solar system, but, you know, the galaxy, and the galaxy is probably circling the galaxies. And when someone dies, it's like that center has been removed, and you're just flung into space. And it's scary, and it's unguided, and you're lost, and it's horrible. That's probably the best way to describe it if you're trying to understand what it's like to lose somebody that's really connected to you. Brother, sister, mother, sibling, someone really, immediate family, I guess is the medical term. Some immediate family member. And it's weird, too. I want to go back to the denial stage, because I recall my sister being kind of in shock, and I thought about the same thing. And, you know, everybody's at different stages as they learn the information. We take time to process this, right? So she's already past denial, and I'm still in denial, and it pisses people off when you don't freak out and go hysterically bonkers ballistic when you get the news, because you're starting phase 1, and you're in denial. They're past denial, and a lot of times you get really mad at that person. I remember getting mad at my girlfriend when I called her and said, you know, he's gone. My buddy, my pal, you know, lifelong guy is gone. And she was like laughing and talking to some friends, and you want it to be real focused too. When you break this kind of news, I would recommend that person be not talking to anybody, because she was, and was giggling, and it really fricked me up, because I was like, holy shit, did you not hear what I just said? He's gone. And you get mad at them because they're not with you emotionally. They're on some other stage. And I remember my sister saying the same thing that I said to her, which is, did you hear what I said? You almost think it's a comprehension problem. Did you hear what I just said? Are you understanding what's happening right now? You know, why are you laughing? What the, you know, you just get really mad, and, you know, like, she wasn't laughing at me, she was laughing at something somebody said, and it was just a bad overlap of, you know, hey, somebody's dead, and you're still continuing to laugh as she moved into what? You know, and, but don't be mad at somebody that's not, you know, on the same level you are. They'll get there, maybe, sometimes, iffy. So, keep that in mind. Don't get, you know, like, she kind of got mad at me, but I understood, and I totally accepted that, and I wished I was on that stage with her, and I was in this, you know, the sympathy phase is probably the bystanders stage. Just try to be there for somebody that's lost somebody, you know, guide them and comfort them as much as you can. And what else? I'm going to wrap this up here. It's like 20-minute long babble, right? But maybe it'll help somebody out there. If this helps a single person, to me it's worth it, right? Because it's the most difficult thing, I think, besides love, right? If you've been there. Divorce rate's pretty high, though, so I guess a lot of people have been there. When somebody doesn't love you as much as you love them, right? That's always the bottom line. I don't think any two people love each other the same amount. If they did, they'd be soulmates and they'd live a happy life ever after, which would be awesome. It's very rare. I've never seen it. And I've worked at retirement homes for 10 years. I think a lot of people just tolerate a lot of life as toleration. In the old days, people just dealt with cheating and they just let it happen. Turn the other cheek or cheated themselves. And nowadays, people are like, fuck yeah, I'm getting a divorce. I'm out of here. And I don't think that's wrong. Catholics do, but I don't. I scripted that part. I mean, I scratched that part, rather. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, when someone dies, you want to find solace with somebody that is as deeply affected as you are. That goes into, I guess, maybe being on that same level of stages. If you all find out at the same time, you can grieve together. But try to find somebody, obviously, that was just as attached. If your sister dies, obviously you want to console with your other siblings if you have them. If mom dies, you want to console with dad. Dad dies, you console with mom. If they both die, that sucks. You're screwed. Because you need that. Somebody that's on that level of pain. That's so comforting for whatever reason. I don't know why. I guess because you feel like they understand, and you need to be with somebody that you feel like understands what's happening. Like they feel it. They're on the same emotional wreck that you're on. It's like a tragic ride, and you want somebody on there with you, right? You don't want the guy that's sitting there controlling the booth, just totally ignorant to how you're feeling, moving through the emotions and whatever. But try to find someone that's going to be equally hysterically upset as you are, if you can. Let's see here. Let's wrap this up with oh, I just wrote that, you feel like they'll never understand, that what you're going through. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up. The Kubler-Ross theory and all that good stuff. I probably said that wrong. I think it's Kubler, maybe it's Kubler, whatever. The 5 stages, retranslated by me. So good luck to you in this terrible time. And like I said, most important thing to do is grieve and grieve with somebody that's grieving as well on the same level. So good luck to you, and maybe we'll see you in the next life, huh?